Wow, when we were in Jurassic Park, I had such a good time. All the awe and imagination and people's reactions were so magical and mystical. Oh, it was so nice. What's that? There's a sequel. Oh, I can't wait to see more imagination.
Awe and wonder.
Oh my god! Ah! The snake!
Jurassic Park 2 was once again directed by Steven Spielberg, and is a sequel to, well, Jurassic Park, because... Anyway, remember, this is just my opinion. My opinion isn't the right opinion, just my opinion. So what did I think about this movie? The first thing that comes to mind when I think about this movie is this is a very different movie than the first one. This is more of an action thriller movie that has a ton more action, a ton more scares, which is really cool. It lets you know that Spielberg knows how to direct action. It has some really cool action set pieces. We'll get more into these action set pieces later. Sadly, I do have a few flaws with this movie. I find that in this movie, the character of Ian Malcolm, most of the character and personality that made him great and very charismatic in the first one just wasn't there. As well as some of the new additions also I find didn't exactly have the most personality or really any want or need, so it's really hard for us to care about these characters or for their want to coincide with a need, so then they can have a character arc and deepen the character. Sadly here, I find that there isn't much of that. So at times it could feel like this movie was spectacle for spectacle's sake, because just the character and emotion isn't there. You might be wondering, whoa. There must be a ton of emotion because a lot of characters die in this movie. That's the thing. A lot of characters do die in this movie, but they're treated as more like as a horror or sometimes even comedy, or to make you go ugh. Like one of the person's death was like torn apart by two T-Rexes and split into two by saving the main players, and they don't exactly have a main theme about sacrifice or any heroism to any of these deaths, so most of the emotional weight to some of these sacrifices just isn't there, because it's like, fine, I'll sacrifice myself to save you, ah! And then they get killed in like the most disgusting of ways, and they don't exactly honor it as. But there is one scene where everyone's so sad and emotional, but for some reason it reminds me of that Sarlacc pit scene in Return of the Jedi when everyone's nodding their head. You know what? As well as another thing that can contribute to this movie's spectacle for spectacle's sake, in my opinion, is that it has less awe and wonder and imagination than the first one. In the first movie, you have a lot of, wonder and awe, and it's really halfway through before the main action comes down. You get to explore these characters and their wants and needs, and really the world. Here, there isn't much of that. Here, there's a teeny bit of really intriguing thoughts, but I find that these intriguing thoughts are underdeveloped. In the first movie, they had a lot of intriguing thoughts that were answered, like, is bringing dinosaurs back good? Here, they kind of explained that, then they kind of just left it, and then action stuff happened, which is very disappointing, which could make this movie feel a bit more like spectacle for spectacle's sake. As well as this movie struggles to find a clear focus, and at times it could feel like an excuse to have dinosaurs kill people. I find in the first one they had a human plot that drives through and carries emotions. Here's about the embryos. Here, they kind of had that in the first kind of actish, but then they kind of just left it when they became allies with like the Indian bad guys people, and then action just ensues. The plot is we have to stop these Indian guys, and then the movie becomes into run away from dinosaurs. Let's talk a bit about the final sequence. I really do think that the final sequence in this movie wasn't necessary. It felt like it didn't exactly add the plot much, and it just didn't feel like it didn't need to be in there. It just felt out of place as well, and that the movie could have ended, which causes quite a bit of conveniences. This movie has quite a bit of conveniences that make me go, what? Like smaller flaws such as Ian Malcolm saying that he had 3 kids. Or them just putting the trailer right next to a cliff. Not a great idea, because if dinosaurs come, well, you're gonna fall down the cliff. Or also just the fact that I find that this movie at times could be an excuse to be a bit convoluted. If you want me to explain a bit more of what I mean, well, apparently there's this other island called Site B, where the dinosaurs are made and they transfer them to Site A. So what about those eggs hatching in Site A and what? Overall, I was disappointed by The Lost World, and we'll give Jurassic Park The Lost World a C-. Quick soundtrack review. Once again, the soundtrack here really shines. It is really great. It's probably doesn't hold up to the first Jurassic Park. Some of the action cues could feel a bit generic, but overall, it has quite a bit more of a sense of dread and percussion. And overall, I'll give the soundtrack a 9.2 out of 10.